2015, the year that Nintendo first released out another brand new game that didn't involve either the Red Plumber or the Green Swordsman, and instead decided to make us ask the question, are we kids or are we squids? Yep, we're talking about Splatoon this time in our theory video today, and in case you haven't seen the title of the video below, this theory is going to be putting a bit more thought into the world of Splatoon, and how it shares this same world with these. Yep, we're doing it. So the main theory, basically, is that PNF 404 in the Pikmin franchise is the same planet where Splatoon takes place, and as such, both games take place in the same universe. It is a bit of a stretch to think about with such polar opposite games, one being a Banjo-Kazooie explorer game about collecting things, and another being Nintendo's version of a third-person shooter. But the evidence in my eyes doesn't come down from the gameplay, nor any Easter eggs in either games, or anything the characters say. The hardcore evidence lies in the world itself. The biology, evolution, and timeline. Yes, this is more scientific if anything, but it'll make more sense as I go along. And after doing a bit of research into both Splatoon and Pikmin, there's actually a lot more clues in them than I think people realize. Granted, these games aren't exactly games that people theorize on a lot, since both of them are pretty much well grounded already. But that aside, give both are from Nintendo, the company seems to really enjoy crossing over universes a lot. I mean, have you seen the Smash games? Even the latest Mario Kart games had Link and the Inkling as playable characters, so I wouldn't really put it past them. Anyway, for this theory to start holding some ground, let's begin with what I think is the strongest piece of evidence. Something both games strongly share. Okay then. So both Splatoon and Pikmin have quite the cast of creatures to present. There isn't any character in Splatoon that is considered human, well, at least not officially human. And Pikmin's wildlife is extremely diverse to say the least. But when you really sit down and compare, there is one word. One word that describes the main connection, and it comes down to anatomy. Invertebrates. All the characters in Splatoon, apart from a few special snowflakes over here, are invertebrates. Squids, octopus, jellyfish, sea slugs, urchins, whatever it may be, they're all invertebrates in their own right. Same thing for the animals in Pikmin. Some may seem a bit questionable, like the grub dogs or amphitubers, but a very huge majority are still classified as bugs or insects. Again, invertebrates. In both Splatoon and Pikmin, the dominant life form is invertebrates, with actual vertebrates, animals with a backbone, being almost non-existent. In Splatoon, for example, the only fully terrestrial animals with a backbone we're aware of and actually seen are birds, with the largest one being the seagull. And as for Pikmin, the only true vertebrate terrestrial animal we know of is the amp rat. No other reptiles or birds, just this one animal. Apart from that, other vertebrates have a more linked connection with the ocean. Salmonids, for instance, and the fish from Pikmin. Well, if you can call these fish. All the same though, both games do present invertebrates as dominant life forms of the planet, with vertebrates taking a back seat. In fact, I can go as far to say I can even connect evolutionary paths between different beings from one game to another depending on the timeline placement. Speaking of the timeline, now things start to get a little more juicy. While the timeline in the Pikmin games are mostly inconsistent, or at least not explained very well, we do have a more dominant timeline in Splatoon, which, if you compare it to each of the Pikmin games, actually makes a lot of sense. For a start, practically almost all terrestrial life on Earth has been wiped clean due to rising sea levels, and yes, this includes humans. This allows sea creatures to travel inland, but when the tides receded once again, it left them all stranded on land, having to adapt to a completely different way of life far away from the sea. Now, what does this have to do with Pikmin? A surprising amount, actually. Let's go over some of them. In Pikmin 1, we got the pearly clamps and water dumples. In Pikmin 2, we got the jelly floats, hermit chromats, and the segmented cropster. In Pikmin 3, we got Blinos, Aristocrabs, Lurkers, Sputtlefish, and Waddlepus. And in Hey Pikmin, we got the eye-stalked Bobile, Splurchins, and Starnicles. Now let me ask you one question. Do any of these animals look like they belong in fresh water? Many, if not all of these creatures are often found in ponds and lakes, places you never find them in real life. And even ignoring that, there's still the Groinks, which, let's be real, is literally a walking fish. Now, considering how the Splatoon animals evolved in the first place, all these Pikmin creatures here are actually very plausible with this scenario. And heck, this consists with the birds too. Birds typically lose their ability to fly when it's either not a necessity or becomes a disadvantage. So in a scenario like this where terrestrial life has been, well, wiped clean, birds would easily devolve into a more terrestrial lifestyle. Both the Makiwis and Snagrets both are the results of this change, filling niches with both land and underground animals. And guess what? There's still more clues, but this time in a more game-by-game setting. Again, going off Splatoon's history, there was indeed a point where terrestrial land started to become lost since sea levels began to rise again, adding more water and making Octarians and Inklings fight each other over land in the Great Turf War. Tracing this back to Pikmin again, water is kind of funny throughout the games. In Pikmin 1 and 2, none of the creatures technically swim, more rather just walk in water. And looking at Pikmin 2 specifically, there's actually more animals associated with water. For instance, in Pikmin 1, we only got fiery blowhogs. In Pikmin 2, we have that, and watery blowhogs. Now, I want to touch on this one specifically because its Piccolopedia entries state that not only is it a recently evolved animal, but also one that's rapidly increasing in numbers and is becoming a more dominant gene. Why? I believe this is due to the rising sea levels again adding more water. And even continuing on into Pikmin 3, this is the first time we actually see animals swimming, in this case the Blinos and Sputtlefish, with more deeper pools of water to accommodate. Heck, in Hey Pikmin, there's an entire sector where you can actually swim for the first time yourself. I think you're getting where I'm going with this, right? In the grand timeline in this case, all Pikmin games coincide with the returning tides of water, thus adding more water inland, and Pikmin's animals evolving in response to it. Now, remember earlier when I talked about evolutionary links between Pikmin and Splatoon? Well, here you go. The birds of Splatoon evolved into the Makiwis and Snagrets, the jelly floats evolved into Splatoon's jellyfish, the salmonids evolving from Blinos, and Inklings and Octarians evolving from... Waddlepus? It's the best I got. It's the only animal that really comes close. Now, I'm sure you guys do have contradictions to this, so let's see. The main one. The fact every game starts with you plummeting to the planet in a broken ship, and it would seem a bit odd that no Inkling, or Octoling for that matter, would be curious and see what's up. Well, remember that Olimar and company are very, very small. Inklings and Octarians are plenty bigger. Quick bonus, with a picture of Jude the cat with both its owner and this Inkling, the size between Inklings and humans are like this. And Olimar is about this big. So yeah, even if someone did see Olimar's ship, they probably would just mistake it for a shooting star at night or something. As for after that, well, I got a simple answer. One Splatoon arena, Camp Triggerfish, shows a densely forested area around a lake. So it is confirmed that dense forests still exist in Splatoon despite previous indications. So the answer? Splatoon's in the urban jungle, cities and towns and such, and Pikmin is out in the actual woods. Again, polar opposites, mind you. Well, there you guys have it. That's the full theory based off the evidence I've seen. If any of you guys think there's more evidence to the theory that it didn't cover, or think there's more evidence suggesting something different, don't be afraid to let me know down below. I'll see you all later. Neon out.